Opportunistic investment was theme 7 in this year's report on the State of Fashion 2021. It offered a prediction that companies will begin maneuvering for the post-pandemic reality to grow market share and expand their capabilities. But in fact, it is already happening. The recent landmark deal with Farfetch, Alibaba, Richemont, and Kering is a case in point. First, it brings together two rival luxury goods groups, Richemont and Kering, who both invested in Farfetch. But there's also added interest because Richemont is also the owner of Yoox Net-a-Porter Group, a major rival to Farfetch. Now, I'm joined by José Neves, founder and chief executive of Farfetch, who's in São Paulo today, as well as Mike Evans, president of Alibaba, who joins us from Mexico. In this, their first joint conversation, they'll help us to understand the anatomy of this mega deal and what it portends for the global luxury e-commerce space. Welcome to you both, José and Mike.
Hi.
José, I wanted to start with you first. This is a deal that really took the industry by surprise. Some of our reporters kind of dropped the mic on Slack and other places, like, where did this deal come from? So in the first instance, can you just give us a sense of the genesis of this mega deal? How did it happen?
Sure. I think the genesis of the deal was a conversation which I will never forget about that conversation with Daniel Zhang. We had that conversation just to understand the Chinese online luxury market and what both the Luxury Pavilion was doing and Farfetch China was doing. And we ended up staying for a long time, much longer than what we expected. And what was clear to us was three things. First, we think as tech businesses. We are technology platforms. We're not retailers. And we really are at the service of the best brands and the best retailers to really enable them. We're here to enable industries. And that ethos was very, very striking because we're not here to replace physical retail, for example. Farfetch started with physical retail. That's what we did since day one. And we continue to have, with Star of the Future and Luxury New Retail, very much believe in how do we reinvent the magic of luxury of physical retail. And it's the same with Alibaba, actually. So they are enabling tens of thousands of physical retailers in China, not in luxury, but in other categories, with one single digital platform. So that was one. The second was, China and how combined and joining forces, we could have a win-win proposition for consumers and also for brands and retailers in that market. And the third one was the global nature of this deal, that we should really, join forces to create this vision of luxury new retail. New retail is Alibaba's strategy. Augmented retail was Farfetch's strategy. Luxury new retail is the combination of these two strategies. And it's really a movement and a suite of products and technologies that is ready. So this is not fantasy. This is not future, gazing. This is ready. We are powering companies already. Chanel, for example, with Store of the Future, now available to other companies, and obviously Alibaba in China. So that was how the story started. And then Richemont has a very close partnership with Alibaba. Artemis, and allow me to introduce a small correction. The investment was not from Kering, was from Artemis, so the Pinot holding company. They were already investors in Farfetch since our IPO, so we naturally, asked them, what do you think? Is this a vision from two technologists that really, are not seeing what the industry needs? Or is this something that your maisons and your brands would need and embrace and think very much is the future? And so would you help us shape that future? And we created this steering group where Johan Rupert and François-Henri Pinault were very honored to have them help us with the roadmap. This is what we have, this is what we're doing. Does this make sense for you? And so in a nutshell, that's how the deal happened.
Okay, Mike, from the Alibaba side, you're such a dominant company in China. Something like 20% of consumer goods, I believe, are bought through your platform. What was the motivation from the Alibaba side to move into this partnership?
So Imran, I think from our side, I've always thought about it as 3 visions and a mission. Vision number 1 is that China today is about 35% of global luxury and probably will grow to 50% of global luxury over the next 3 to 5 years. So huge opportunity for brands and consumers and the big luxury houses to pursue that opportunity. Vision number 2 was really the transformation of luxury through what José just mentioned, which is luxury new retail. We have the new retail technologies. Farfetch has the new retail technologies, and we think this is the way to end this sort of silly distinction between you're either an offline service provider and therefore you don't like online, or you're an online service provider and you don't like offline. The two are never meant to be separated. It's all retail, and we need to make things easy for brands, merchants, but we also need to make things easy for the consumer. We do that with the new retail technologies. And I think the third vision was that this should be done globally, not just in China. But in order to do it globally, you have to have partners. You need technology partners, but you also need brand and luxury group partners. So this cannot be done by a single entity. You need to do this together. And so those 3 visions basically allow you to have a single mission, which is the digital transformation of luxury, and make it easy for brands, for consumers in China, outside of China, online, offline. That's never been done before. And so that's an ecosystem that we want people to join and be part of. It's not an ecosystem that we created to dominate and exclude.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. No, on that point, when you hear all of the players that are involved with this deal, there's one player that's noticeably absent, which is, the dominant luxury group in the sector, LVMH, which owns something like, 75 different brands, not all of them fashion, of course. Was this something that you took to LVMH? I know, for example, José, some LVMH brands are on the Farfetch platform. If this is something to kind of really bring the different players in the industry together to kind of create this standard kind of operating platform for the whole industry globally across physical and digital retail, why isn't LVMH in the mix here? I'll go to you first, José.
Well, we spoke initially with the groups that already have a shareholding or a JV relationship. In the case of Richemont with Alibaba, in the case of Artemis with Farfetch. But this is open to everyone. This is absolutely. This is two platforms joining forces to create a single unified platform across online, offline, mono-brand and multi-brand, by the way, because CEOs think of a matrix of 2 by 2. The consumer thinks as a circle, right? And this needs to be transformed. And I think this year clearly showed that. And that's what we have. And we have ready to go and out of the box and for everyone, for all the luxury groups, obviously LVMH, other luxury groups, for medium brands, for smaller brands, for retailers, for department stores. And I think for medium and small brands, actually, this is an incredibly powerful combination, because with one single integration and without the need of producing one single product more, which is also a very sustainable approach, you're suddenly visible not only on the Farfetch platform, but also on the mobile platform with a cross-border model, which is transformational for small, medium brands, but also for large that already may have a position, a storefront on TLP, and maybe they have 100 SKUs. With this, they will have 5,000 SKUs. They will have the global inventory. which gives them much more visibility, more platform than before. Again, without producing a single item more, and giving Chinese consumers, because that's what's in it for the consumer, the ability to shop real-time fashion from Milan, from Paris, from New York, from LA, from Tokyo, from wherever they used to love shopping, and now, unfortunately, they're not able to. So this is, I think, a win-win for all participants, and it's open to all.
So everyone's invited to join. That's good to hear. So we'll track the other brands and maybe groups that decide to be part of it. I wanted to turn the conversation and focus a little bit on the Chinese market. Earlier in the event, we've been talking about kind of, China basically bucking the global trend in terms of economic growth, consumer confidence, a series of measures that show that, China has, of all the countries in the world, the major markets in the world, China has already, in a way, come out of the crisis stage, and things are turning back towards growth. So Mike, as that's a kind of market that very well, can you just paint a picture for us right now of the retail landscape in China and how you expect that to evolve, and any lessons to share that might be applicable on a global level?
Sure. I think the most important thing that China did to allow its economy to return to, say, 4.9 or 5% growth and allow retail confidence to reemerge was they got on top and solved the problem of the pandemic. And when I talk to my teams in China, when I talk to Daniel almost every week, the message is very simple, which is look at how normal China has come back to in terms of what's happening on our platform. Look at 11/11, where we sold $75 billion US in our global shopping festival. Look at our published results in terms of the growth in our business, both growth in consumers and growth in revenues. Everything tells you and shows you that China has returned to pre-COVID levels of consumption and consumer confidence. And that's because they got on top of the pandemic, eliminated it, and they're aggressively on top of any sign of an outbreak anywhere in the country. Now, the second thing is that I think that China's also been a growth in sectors that are not growing. So luxury is probably going to decline by close to 22% globally this year, according to the independent studies. And yet in China, it's growing by 45%, that sector. In 2019, we now know, because we've looked at the data, 90% of the growth in luxury happened by way of the Chinese consumer. So there's one other thing going on in 2020 that's very important. Because the Chinese consumer is not traveling, that Chinese consumer, 140 to 150 billion of whom would have gone all over the world and purchased luxury goods, they're now not traveling, they're staying in China, and they're buying those products in China. So one of the reasons we're seeing such growth in China generally is what we call the repatriation benefit, which is consumers who normally would have spent money outside of China are basically buying everything they need in China. We expect this to continue because savings and the number of people coming into the middle class, which is now about 400, the number of people on our platform, which is now 800 million, these trends will continue. And the Chinese consumer, we believe, will be very robust across not just luxury, but all other categories and sectors. So I'm very confident what lies ahead.
Yeah, it's been kind of amazing to hear similar perspectives right from the first session that we did. I mean, Jose, the China market opportunity for Farfetch has been a focus of yours for some years now. And this latest deal just underscores the importance of that market for, Farfetch's continued growth. But you already had a partner in China. You had JD.com, and now you're changing your strategy, clearly partnering with Alibaba. What does this new partnership offer that the partnership with JD.com did not? And why did that partnership not, continue?
Listen, first of all, I have huge respect and admiration for JD, for Richard Liu, what he's built for that team. We've been, good partners. We've worked together very closely. I think, there is definitely an intent, a level of intent for buying fashion and luxury specifically on Tmall that doesn't exist on any other platform. It's not just JD. And fashion is the core category of Alibaba. We all think Alibaba is the Amazon of China, which is a way of putting it and thinking of it. But fashion was never the core category for Amazon. It has become a more and more important category, but it was always the core category for Alibaba. So they have the customer, and they have the intent, and they have the tools and the way of presenting it and searching it and shopping it, et cetera, et cetera. That has created an incredibly powerful platform for fashion in China. And in recent years, the amazing work that Alibaba has done with the luxury groups to create an environment where they're extremely comfortable to grow their businesses is incredible, is quite something. So for us, it became clear that the alignment with Alibaba and with Tmall was the next thing to do and the right thing to do. And here we are, and we're going to work very diligently. We're targeting half of Q2 next year for the launch of the storefront on Tmall. That's very exciting. That gives the 3,500 designers, and here we're talking very small designers, medium and very large, presence in China's favorite fashion app, which is Tmall and Luxury Pavilion. So I think that's extremely exciting. That goes for retailers and department stores as well that utilize our platform, and I think it's going to be a pivotal moment in everyone's China strategy, not just our China strategy, but everyone's China strategy in 2021.
Okay, we only have a couple of minutes left, so I wanted to conclude by kind of looking far into the future, because Jose, you and I have known each other since way back, I think in 2007 or 2008, when you were first setting up Farfetch and I was first setting up BoF, and you've always been a man with a vision. How has this current period, the pandemic, all of the changes that we've been talking about here at Voices, changes in customer behavior, changes in the market landscape, how has that changed your vision for Farfetch, say 5 or 10 years from now?
Well, first of all, there's a sense of service to the community. Our team was we didn't know how this was going to pan out, by the way. No one knew, right? And we started dealing with COVID in January because we have a huge team in China. We have 400 people in China. We have a big business in China. So we've learned so many lessons, but a sense of community. We've launched in April #support boutiques to support the smaller companies, which are the ones that are more vulnerable in this situation. But this sense of we're here to enable an entire industry to thrive and to evolve and to innovate. And I think the other big lesson is an acceleration. We just need to remove all these, completely fabricated ideas around online, offline, multi-brand, mono-brand. That's not how the consumer thinks. And the brands and retailers and all of us, we really need to start using the word digital as a buzzword that sounds good when we do earnings calls and when we put out investor letters because they want to see the digital there, blah, blah, blah. And really say, guys, there's no digital or physical, they're one, right? And single view of inventory, single view of customer, single view of journey across multi-brand, mono-brand, online, offline, globally, including China. We need it now in 2021, not in 2025. And this is what I'm absolutely laser focused in leveraging this partnership with Alibaba, but also what we already have. This already exists. It's not a futuristic vision. And how can we make it easy for brands to embrace that vision, working with us and potentially other providers and other partners, of course.
Okay. And Mike, just some quick thoughts from you. We're almost out of time, but it strikes me, earlier you said, this is a global partnership. Alibaba is thought of as a Chinese platform. Looking into the future, where does this deal take Alibaba on a global level?
It takes us to a place that will allow the business to be understood, of course, as the home market being China, but the export of technologies and creative solutions for the future of retail can be enjoyed in multiple markets around the world. So it isn't about setting up a business in every country. It's about using technology and finding partners like we did in this transaction, but as we have in many other transactions, which we can talk about some other time, outside of China, where we can bring what we're really good at and partner with others who have technology and capabilities that they're really good at to create an experience for merchants and for consumers that cannot be created today in a single entity. And that's what is exciting about this transaction. There are options in terms of things that we can do with Farfetch and with Richemont and with NAP and with all of these partners that wouldn't be possible if we tried to do it alone. So that's what's exciting, and that's what we're looking forward to, and that's what we're going to execute on.
Okay. Well, I look forward to catching up with you both maybe a year from now to track the progress. Thank you so much for joining us today and giving us the backstory on this mega deal.
Thanks, Imran.
Thank you, Imran.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.